RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom. Informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI. Food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. And of course, it is Thursday, the 6th of November, 2025. We are on to program number 1481 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Now, of course, in addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can also get us at our website, rcisaintlucia.com. We are also streaming live on Facebook. You just have to search on the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And we're also streaming on YouTube. So lots of options to get us online. The number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. Our WhatsApp number is 724-0008. You can call in or you can message in via WhatsApp. And again, that number is 724-0008. Now, some, history for today. Back in the year 1830, the Congress of Chilpancingo declared Mexico independent from Spain. In the year 1913, on this day, Mahatma Gandhi was arrested for leading an Indian miners' march in South Africa. 1917 on this day saw the Bolshevik Revolution beginning with the bombardment of the Winter Palace in Petrograd during the Russian October Revolution. It was still using the old calendar at that time, so it was October the 24th and not November the 6th. 1978, the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, placed the country under military rule, allowing General Gholam Reza Azari to form a government. We now move on to our dish of the day. The daily dish is brought to you with the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
This has been The Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Thanks for joining us for today. Now, in a little while, probably at about half 1:30, we're going to be joining some representatives of the National Awards Committee. They have the responsibility of, effectively nominating individuals or approving the whole process of nominations for individuals who are deemed to be worthy of national awards and national medals. So we'll be speaking to them about that in just a bit, of course. First, taking in something from yesterday, two events, of course. One during the day, and that was the opening of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court headquarters. And that has been a very long journey in realizing better amenities, better facilities in respect of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. Of course, we are part of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, within which we share a number of institutions across a number of these islands, Eastern Caribbean islands, from Grenada in the south up to the British Virgin Islands in the north. And many of these institutions, in fact, even predated the establishment of the OECS itself. Of course, matters like our currency, the Eastern Caribbean dollar, has been around for some time, and so too the court system that we actually have for both our high courts as well as the Court of Appeal. And of course, some of these institutions are hosted in St. Lucia, like the OECS Commission up on the Mon. Some others, like the Central Bank, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, in fact, headquarters in Basse in St. Kitts and Nevis. The OECS Assembly, that meeting of various representatives from the parliaments across the region, that tends to be meeting in Antigua, perhaps partly because they have one of the more modern parliament buildings within the Eastern Caribbean. But the matter of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, they in fact have been headquartered in St. Lucia for a number of years now, certainly dating back, I think, to the 1980s. And prior to that, I believe they were in Grenada, and they have in fact been calling St. Lucia home for quite some time. And it's certainly a matter of distinction that we in fact have, but it is also a matter of responsibility. Of course, the host islands are expected to provide adequate resources, adequate amenities and facilities for the headquarters. And so in the case of St. Lucia, that has been one of the requirements. And we've had I suppose you could say, a very simple and perhaps some even also point out inadequate hosting of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court over the years. That was in fact merely just a flaw in one of the government buildings on the waterfront, the Heraldine Rock building, for quite some time, where they in fact only had about 10,000 square feet of space. One should mention, in fact, that somewhere back around 2000 and I think 2007 or thereabouts, 2008, there was an initiative undertaken by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court to undergo a feasibility or to undertake a feasibility study looking at all the court facilities across the Eastern Caribbean. And of course, invariably, they were pretty much all wanting. And so we're not speaking just merely to the Court of Appeal, but to the entire provision of courtrooms for the magistracy, for the High Court, for the Family Court, whether the High Court is dealing with civil or criminal matters. Effectively, pretty much nearly no country had a decent court facility that would have been adequate for the purposes of the modern court. And that study outlined a very far-reaching plan for investment into the courts across the Eastern Caribbean. And in the case of St. Lucia, in fact, the recommendation at that time was to build a single halls of justice that would in fact house pretty much all the courts within the island, inclusive of a separate section or a separate wing, if you like, dedicated to the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal. That, of course, unfortunately never materialized, and one of the major challenges in this regard was finding a location that would have been suitable. Now, in that instance, back in a period around 2010, the site that had in fact been recommended was Barnard Hill. Of course, the challenge with that is that Barnard Hill still currently is the home to a structure which had been put up somewhere back in the 1980s, I think about 1984, through the assistance of the French government, effectively a tent which we have been calling the National Cultural Center for St. Lucia for quite some time. It is one of those other outstanding matters in terms of national level infrastructure that is still certainly wanting the need for a national cultural center. The inadequacies of the current facility are very, very well known by many, not just merely the aesthetic of the building, which is pretty much looking like a bit of a warehouse, but beyond that, the fact that it is inadequate for any major events, the seating capacity is low, the not enough space for training and for other support for training facilities for dance and different forms of dance and music and visual arts. That is, of course, all not there in respect of the National Cultural Center. And so, however, at the time, there had not yet been identified a proper facility for developing the National Cultural Center. And of course, the word of the proposal of one potential new user coming in without the provision of any alternative arrangements certainly did not go down well with the community of artisans and artists who got word of that. And so, of course, that effectively ended up getting shelved. And so, for a very long time after that, the entire matter of the halls of justice was sort of placed on hold. There was, of course, also another proposal to host or to create this dual purpose halls of justice, incorporating all levels of the courts over in the Kubari area along the currently Millennium Highway, soon to be redubbed the Julian Alfred Highway, in the vicinity of that roundabout that gives access to the OKEU hospital. On the other side, there was a proposal, in fact, to establish a new halls of justice on that site. And to some degree, it would have certainly have made some sense, because there has been as well a piece or parcel of land earmarked alongside that very same roundabout for the purpose of the relocation of the OECS Commission, which is currently utilizing potpourri of buildings, old and new, up on Mont Fortune within the general space of that old garrison, inclusive of the what is now the South Louis Community College. Wholly inadequate as well. One would surmise that that facility is not suitable for sufficiently for the OECS Commission, and so they also wanted a new home in the Kubari area. It appears that, however, there was some concern by the traditionalists within the legal fraternity who wished to see the courts remain within the downtown and the city center. And so, of course, we've now seeing ongoing right now work on halls of justice building or buildings, two buildings in the downtown of Castries for the purpose of housing the magistracy as well as the family court and the commercial, civil, and criminal divisions of the High Court of St. Lucia, and as well as the supporting registries for those various divisions. And so that is ongoing, and that, of course, a project being undertaken by NH International out of Trinidad and Tobago, and they are undergoing a build-own-lease transfer for constructing the halls of justice. But that, in fact, did not make provision for the Supreme Court, the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. And so, in fact, that is because the ECSC had already been eyeing the Orange Grove Plaza as part of that redevelopment of that facility. And so that was already sort of in train in terms of legal obligations. And so what happened yesterday was the realization finally of a fit-for-purpose facility for the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, which effectively is doubling, or not even doubling, sorry, is increasing their space sixfold, moving into a facility of over 66,000 square feet of space, which is effectively allowing for the first time the Court of Appeal to have its own courtrooms, and very well appointed courtrooms indeed. Two courtrooms which can handle civil matters, a grand courtroom which can allow for major cases involving multiple justices of appeal. If they would wish to have 5 present or 7 present, they could within that space. But also a courtroom that can also accommodate the criminal matters, criminal appeal matters as well, with accommodation being made for prisoner dock and holding cells within that facility. In addition to that, of course, rather ample space being made available for an expanded judiciary, judicial officers, with lots of accommodation for up to 14 justices of appeal. And in addition to that, of course, the supporting facilities like a law library, space for a number of their other departments. The IT department, for example, is so very important in a modern court setting where they are wishing to ensure that matters could be broadcast virtually into various other territories. It allows for a lot of other provision of transcripts being done automated. And so, of course, they do certainly need a very, very modern IT unit and a lot of other of the supporting units that are required within the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court are, of course, made available there. So that ceremony took place yesterday morning into the afternoon up at Bois de Ouage, finally giving the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court its own home, for the, I suppose, the foreseeable future. And in addition to that, there was in fact a political meeting held last night by the St. Lucia Labour Party that happened down in Soufrière. And of course, the incumbent there, Honorable Emma Hippolyte, looking to return and going up against the individual, in fact, who she defeated back in 2021, Mr. Herod Stanislas. And an interesting announcement coming out of that event, with the Prime Minister indicating, in addition to the fact that civil servants will in fact be getting a bonus for the second year running here in St. Lucia, but in addition to that, and in addition, well, I should also say, in addition to the barrel concession, which has recently been announced, and of course, which many people look forward to, the proposal is to introduce a VAT-free day. Now, this, of course, is something that some may have heard about in respect of St. Kitts and Nevis. They, in fact, have been offering VAT-free days for some time now, with the idea being that there's one day where the prices of all items are effectively going to be VAT-free, so that the government effectively is foregoing revenue for one day. And of course, the idea being that within that one day, the benefit is to the businesses, who, of course, retailers, wholesalers, Anybody who's is paying VAT that or has products which are catching VAT, that they can in fact provide a sort of like a sale day for that time. And so of course the announcement coming that there will be a VAT-free day before the Christmas, somewhere during the Christmas season, I guess one could say, for the benefit of individuals to be able to get a discount and break on purchases at their various locations, whether it might be in retail stores or supermarkets or wherever the case may be. So we'll of course have to wait and see for further details regarding that proposal being made by the Prime Minister and of course political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And of course many are projecting and suggesting that we may very well be facing a rather looming election in the not too distant future. Well, that's our dish of the day. And when we come back, we'll take in our weather report. And hopefully by the time we get back to the lunchroom, we should be able to have our guests in studio from the National Awards Committee.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the tile stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle-dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And that's all, of course, the 1.1. It's now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours, winds will be blowing from the east near 70 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. The weather, fair skies becoming cloudy at times with a few showers. At first, an increasing cloudiness and shower activity is expected late tonight into tomorrow. The forecast for the Los Angeles, fair to partly cloudy skies with a few showers, and over the central Windward Islands and areas further north. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. And the tropical weather outlook, moist and unstable conditions will cause scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms over the Los Antilles during the next 24 hours. Tropical cyclone formation is all expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. And this has been your weather forecast as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. And of course, we do hope that you're having a very blessed day out there. Now, we, as promised, have two representatives of the National Awards Committee of St. Lucia. And of course, as you would know, every independence, there are awards. The Order of St. Lucia awarded to persons who are deemed befitting of recognition and that stature and elevation. And so to tell us all about the National Awards process, the committee, the work that is done behind the scenes to, in fact, make those determinations. I'm so very pleased that we have these two individuals who've been on that committee for some time. Miss Sharon Ephraim. She, in fact, has been a guest here before on many occasions to tell us about that, as well as Dr. Kentry Japierre. Welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having us, colleagues. We appreciate us being here once more.
It's that time again.
It's that time again to speak on our national awards coming up pretty soon. The
Right.
deadline is pretty soon. So we're here to invite our unsung heroes. We are inviting all citizens from the various communities around the island to seek out the unsung heroes who deserve national recognition and acclaim and submit nominations to the National Awards Committee for consideration. So we look forward to those nominations, but we will go in detail as to how the nominations can be done.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I mean, recognition is very, very important, and we quite often hear that, we're a dead hero society, that we don't take enough time to say thank you, to affirm that, people are doing good.
Correct.
And of course, we see lots and lots of negative out there in the news all the time. But there are a lot of people who are, as you rightfully have said, are doing some really remarkable, self-sacrificing, I wouldn't say duty, but service to their country that we don't really know about, and in many communities all around the island.
And in the diaspora as well. Persons from the diaspora who have served and served well and assisting persons in the community. Some of them in the diaspora even assisting persons in St. Lucia in various capacity.
Yes, I'm thinking of certain individuals. There's this lady out of Martinique I
Yes.
know who's been helping so much in terms of giving back on a regular basis. I think she's over 90 now. I can't remember the exact name, but you will probably come to her at some point. But there are a lot of people who are in these associations as well, or whatever it is that they are certainly still giving back to their country as well. So they too can be.
They too can. We want to really appeal to persons out there to try to look at persons out there who they think is deserving of those awards, and to be able to put out those nominations to recognize those persons. This encourages citizens to be able to give back, to be able to assist in the various communities, whereby government is doing so much already. However, whatever we do out there, whether it's in a service club, whether it is individually, whether it is in other capacities, it is important for you to point out those persons you think that they have gone way above and beyond to be able to say, hey, I think this person is deserving. It's important. So we are asking persons to really go out there and send those nominations so that those persons can be recognized.
Indeed.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about the formality of it. You did mention that there's a deadline that's coming up, but there's a form, I believe, that individuals have to fill out. So tell us a little bit about those details.
Okay, so there is that form that you have to fill out, and the form is the order of the awards in confidence, the Order of St. Lucia. That's the heading of the form. The form submission of recognition by the Order of Service renders to St. Lucia. The form has to be filled in its entirety. So you have the details of the nominee. So you have the person's surname, the person's first name, the date of birth, the nationality, the address, and the phone number. And then you have to tick out what order that you would like to nominate the person for. Now, the various orders of service are the St. Lucia Cross, the St. Lucia Medal of Honor, the St. Lucia Medal of Merit, the St. Lucia L'Hôpital Medal. Those, and then you have them in gold or silver, which is the Medal of Honor, Medal of Merit is in gold or silver. The St. Lucia Cross is one of the highest order, and the St. Lucia L'Hôpital Medal, you have it in gold, silver, or bronze. I'm not sure if you would like to go for the order. Go ahead. Okay. So we are asking persons to tick the box for the order that you think the person is best deserving. And when they tick that box, you have to also say whether the person has received any awards previously, whatever award. And also we need the details of the person initiating that nomination. It is very important for the person to say their name, their address, and their telephone number, and to give us a statement of service rendered. Now, we are asking persons not to give us just a curriculum vitae, but to give us justification as to why they are nominating that person for the award. So curriculum vitae will not suffice only receiving that for the person to be able to get that award. You need to be able to justify why do you think the person is deserving and what has the person done in the various capacities that you think the person is deserving of an award. So you would have to write in detail for us what do you think the person has done to be deserving. The nomination form must be completed in its entirety. Incomplete nomination forms will be disqualified. You must tick every box. You must answer every question that was asked. You must be able to identify and justify why you are asking, why you are nominating that person. Let me just go through the various orders so that persons can have an idea as to what order of service that they are going to nominate the person for. Because you do not want somebody that did work in a community and is a community activist to be able to say, okay, I will nominate the person for a cross. So you have to know in what order the person falls so that you can tick the appropriate box. Because if you tick the box for the cross, for the person that is doing community work, and we see you tick the box, we as the board, the committee, cannot say that the person justified very well, but however they ticked the wrong box. And so because they ticked the wrong box, we are going to put them for X, Y, and Z. We cannot tamper with the form, the nomination form. We cannot do no changes. So that is why you need to understand what you're doing and do it well. Because we try our best not to get persons who has nominated persons. We try our best not to get persons. We have found ourselves in situations where persons are not happy that the person that they nominate did not get through. But there are various reasons why sometimes the person did not get through, especially if somebody did the justification well enough compared to somebody that just give us a curriculum vitae. So all of that can be reasons why whoever you nominate will not be able to qualify. However, it doesn't stop there. You can always go back and nominate the person again a second time and a third time until you think that person eventually will be able to succeed. Okay. So you have the St. Lucia Cross, a person who has rendered distinguished and outstanding service of national importance to St. Lucia. These are the persons that you would nominate for the St. Lucia Cross. The St. Lucia Medal of Honor, a person who has rendered eminent service of national importance to St. Lucia, only for acts of conspicuous courage in circumstance of extreme peril. And in the silvered, a person who has rendered eminent service of national importance to St. Lucia and is only for acts of bravery in hazardous circumstances. Then you have the St. Lucia Medal of Merit. It comes in gold and silver. And a person who has performed long and meritorious service in acts of literature, science, or other such fields in St. Lucia. So you can nominate them for either the gold or the silver in the Medal of Merit. In the Le Piton Medal, you have gold, silver, and bronze. Persons who have performed long and meritorious service to St. Lucia, tending to promote loyal public service, national welfare, or to inculcate and strengthen community spirit. So you can nominate that person for gold, silver, or bronze in the Le Piton Medal. In the National Service Cross, this category of award is granted to no more than 2 persons in any 1 year. This is awarded to an officer of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, not below the rank of Deputy Fire Chief, or any officer of the prison service, not below the rank of Deputy Chief Prison Officer, who has rendered loyal and devoted service beneficial to St. Lucia. And then you have the St. Lucia National Service Medal. This category again is awarded to no more than 4 persons in any 1 year. Awarded for outstanding meritorious service to members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the St. Lucia Fire Service, the St. Lucia Prison Service, and commissioned officers of a cadet corps.
Okay, and of course, these awards are under the, I suppose you could say, the direction somewhat of the Governor General of St. Lucia, and who is the Chancellor of the Order of St. Lucia. And of course, the thinking is that the process, of course, is impartial,
yes,
non-partisan, that anybody
yes.
can, in fact, regardless of any kind of persuasion, religious, political,
yes, correct,
ethnic, that they can, in fact.
Happy you said that, because on the committee, we have, you can speak on that, on the committee?
Mm-hmm. Right, in terms of the composition of the committee.
Yes, well, the committee is headed by Mrs. Mauricia Thomas Francis, who was appointed by the Governor General after consultation with both the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition. The Prime Minister will also appoint a secretary. The secretary is Imam Louis. Apart from those two, the chairperson and the secretary, we have on the committee Mr. Wilbert King, who is a retired public servant, very prominent retired public servant, and also serving St. Lucia as a member of the Public Service Commission. Well, I sit on the committee as the chairman of the Public Service Commission and the Teaching Service Commission. You have representatives of the government of the government and of the opposition in the persons of Miss Ephraim as well as Miss Malaika Compton, and we have the commissioner of police, who is represented by his assistant, Miss Assistant Commissioner of Police.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Silly. No. Just forgot his name. Yes, but he's representing.
Oh, a male. Oh,
yes,
it's a male.
He's representing the commissioner.
Oh, okay.
And those people are appointed for a period of 3 years. Mm-hmm. By the Governor General. By the Governor General. So in other words, you have wide. You have a diversity of views, of perspectives, and so on the committee, and so it is difficult for any level of bias to come into the selection. So when nominations are received, the committee will sit down and would go through those nominations or the look at the merits and demerits of the various nominations and so on, and would agree on certain people. The people that they agree should receive award. The names of those people will be submitted to the office of the Prime Minister, who would look at it again, and eventually those names would be submitted to the Governor General, who of course will take it from there. Yes, and final say.
Now, you mentioned a few things. Thanks very much for that, Dr. Japierre. Ms. Ephraim, you mentioned the matter of if persons have already won an award, that needs to be indicated, that needs to be disclosed. One, how would one know whether one has won an award? Is there any way that, should they call Government House? Would they, in fact, find that out?
So it does not necessarily have to be a national award. Whatever award that the person has won, it can be said and you can state what the award is. But if the person has won, let's say the person has won a St. Lucia L'Hôpital medal, right? And you think that the person deserving a L'Hôpital medal maybe in silver, and you think now that the person continues and they are deserving a L'Hôpital medal in gold, you can still nominate that person because you think the person is deserving of that gold.
Okay.
Or any other category that you think the person is deserving of. However, we try our best to tell persons that we try to keep it as a surprise for the persons that is nominated. But in some cases, we find those persons go to the individual and ask information, or go to somebody that's close to them or somebody that know them very well. So that information may come out, since in the form that has to be submitted, all of that information is there. So they fully well know exactly what they are looking for to be able to justify the award. So they need to be able to go out there and find out everything that they can of the person, including what they know already. So not just within their instincts they know, but they have to go out and find out pertinent persons that would have known of the individual to get more information. We had a case where an individual thought that someone should not be nominated. This came up in our last year's thing, where we want the public to know that besides persons are being nominated, they nominate persons according to what they think the community tell them. So when you go to the community and you individually ask persons about certain persons and you tell them what you ask them for, they would give you information that would merit the award and what would not merit the award. We try to take the nomination that we receive as nominations that was honestly put together, and we try our best to investigate as much as we can. We may not be able to investigate fully, but we do some form of investigation. You may have persons that is on the committee that may know someone and may say, well, yes, I know the individual has done X, Y, and Z, and they may have more than one person on the committee that might be able to justify that. If there are persons on the committee, when we take a vote, because we take a vote on all applications that we receive, so the majority would stand, but we do take a vote. We go through the process, we go through the forms are received by the secretary, and all of those forms are sent to each one of us. We take our time and we comb them properly, we go through them, we make sure that we put our own recommendation. After that, we meet, and then we discuss, and then most times you find that when we meet, most or if not all of the members of the committee would have somebody that they tick and say yes, because they were happy and satisfied with what they receive in terms of the justification of that individual. So we want persons out there to trust us and to understand that we are governed by an act. We took an oath, And we know that whatever information that we put out there, that it is information that we believe as a committee is justified for that individual. So even if the person has received that award and we nominate the person we see a justification for another award, that person would be able to. If it gets to the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister feels to himself that well, I think that person gets an award already. That it's up to the Prime Minister if he wants to say yes or no, or or put somebody else. The Prime Minister has the authority to do so as well. But the buck stops with the Governor General, like we said. But I want persons to know that the committee is a well-put committee, and we have members on both sides, as well as the public service and the police. And we want persons to know that whatever we say there, that we are trying our best to be able to receive those nominees and to be able to those persons to be able to be nominees, that we try our best to be able to let the public know who those persons are and why we think.
So you do some level of due diligence.
We do due diligence.
You try to come. Another quick question though.
Yes.
Are only individuals or persons nominating persons in their individual capacity, or can an organization also nominate somebody? I mean, for example, a Kentry Jean-Pierre who may have been an executive director of the FRC, could the FRC nominate somebody, or does he have to do it in his personal capacity as Kentry Jean-Pierre?
No.
Just as an example.
None of the members of the committee.
No. I know. I'm not talking about. I'm just using Kentry as an example, but it could be somebody out there in maybe the National Youth Council. Could like the National Youth Council
yes.
nominate somebody, or does it have to be in their own personal capacity?
Any organization can nominate any member in their organization that they feel is deserving of that award. So you have the NGOs out there; they too can nominate someone. Any NGO, any non-profit organization, any organization that feel that they have somebody that is fitting for that award, they can nominate someone.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Yes.
Now, you have not yet mentioned the deadline as yet. I think we need to do that because time is upon us.
Okay, yes. So I want to just mention that before we reach to the deadline, that you can receive your forms at the Governor General online. The governorgeneral.gov.lc/awards, or at local libraries, post offices, sub-post offices, constituency councils, and at the office of the Prime Minister, located in the Graham Louise Administrative Building, Waterfront, Castries. Completed nomination forms must be sent in a sealed envelope addressed to the Secretary, National Awards Committee, care of Office of the Prime Minister, Graham Louise Administrative Building, Waterfront, Castries. Or you can submit online at recognition.govt.lc. All nominations must be made on the prescribed form, and all submissions must provide justification for the award proposed and must bear the name and signature of the individual making the submission. We must have that signature. If your signature is not on that form, your form will be disqualified. Both name and signature must be legible. Nomination forms must be completed in the entirety. Remember, the deadline for submission of nomination forms to this year is the 20th of December 2025. Nominations received after that date will not be considered. So you can always, if you're late in submission, you can always submit the following year.
Okay. And just to give some sense as to the individuals who may be selected or something, just for the benefit of the public, I'm just going to go through last year's awards. Dr. Cato Thomas Lawrenson he was awarded the Knight Commander of the Order of St. Lucia. And there, I think it speaks to what you were speaking about, people in the diaspora.
Yes.
Dr. Lawrenson,
Exactly.
in fact, I think was born in the United States, but of St. Lucian parentage.
Yes.
And he, in fact, has done so much in terms of the area of
Correct.
medicine and engineering and, education. So he was awarded the highest award possible, the St. Lucia Cross. And I don't know if we're going to get a repeat of 2025 because you had some really astounding individuals. Darren Sammy, Laverne Spencer, and Julian Alfred. A trio of sporting greats from St. Lucia were awarded the St. Lucia Cross. So you can see the caliber of individuals that we're speaking about for the St. Lucia Cross. The St. Lucia Medal of Honor Gold last year, Mr. Peter Foster, KC, Dr. Morgan, of course he's a barrister. Former Speaker of the House, Dr. Morgan Dalfinis, who did lots of work in the Creole language, linguistics, Mr. Giles Romulus in the area of environment and the work that he's done there with Jeff. You got the St. Lucia Medal of Honor Silver, and you had Father Setut, as many persons would know him as. He there in the area of the field of liturgy. And so you can see also religious individuals can be nominated as well. So something to think out for maybe even the congregations out there who want to recognize their pastors or people who are doing work in that field. Mr. Dominic Chester Alexander, also I think from Soufrière, I believe he's from here.
Soufrière.
Mr. Egbert Lucien from Grosley, former mayor of Grosley, in his area of poetry, interesting though, is where he's receiving that Medal of Honor Silver. In the Medal of Merit category, we saw Philip Zephyrin Calix in his work in terms of arts. Many people know his calypsos, of course. Mr. Pancras Theodore, also in calypso, but maybe from a different era, the Mighty Terror. And Mr. Lincoln Francis in the area of education. In the area of, St. Lucia Medal of Merit Silver, we see Mr. John Peters getting it in the field of engineering, and Miss Evangelist Irene Daisy in education, Mr. Hamilton Kuhlman in education as well. So I guess you could see some of the areas. The Medal of Merit is a little bit different in terms of the kinds of individuals getting it there. And Le Piton Medal Gold, Mr. Cyprien Duplessis, as well, and that's in the area of sport. Mr. Tedbert Thibbles in the area of community development. Miss Althea Emmanuel in the area of arts. Le Piton Medal Silver, Matilda Nelson, Pastor Sherwin Griffith, Mr. Virgil Burke. So I mean, we could go on. It's a very long list, but I just wanted to give a sense of some of the individuals who got it last year, and individuals can kind of see, well, okay, they did this in a particular area, and kind of match the awards that you were talking about to the various fields.
Yeah, there's just one thing I want to say. There may be people who might be able to identify people worthy of awards and so on, but they might feel intimidated. They might feel, well, who am I to make an award and so on. And I just want to appeal to those people to have the confidence to make those awards. In fact, the chairman, the chair of the committee was making the point recently that when you go to funerals, you hear a whole list of achievements of people in the various communities. When you have what they call the eulogy. Yeah, I mean, people outstanding individuals in the communities and so on. So there are people in the communities that are doing great work and so on, but they are not receiving the recognition. But the people in the communities must come out and must make the nominations, to the committee. Don't feel threatened. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel that, well, don't ask yourself, well, who am I to make a nomination? Every St. Lucian have that right to make that nomination, to recognize your peers, your colleagues, the people in your community, in the community, and so on. So come out, get your forms, make your nominations, let your voices be heard, so that your colleagues, your friends, your community people, and so on, could in fact receive the recognition that they really deserve.
And of course, as you mentioned, funerals, Dr. Japierre, you do allow for posthumous awards as well. So even if the person has passed, yes, you want to give them their flowers while they're alive, but for whatever reason it may not have happened, that is something that can also be considered. So good. Thanks so very much for sharing with us, of course. And I know you have a few points before we end very quickly. Sharon, go right ahead.
Yes, thank you, Calix. So we look forward to receiving nominations from all communities and to once again make recommendations for honoring our unsung heroes. We want to remind the public that the deadline for submission of the nominations is 20th of December 2025. However, awards are usually presented on near Independence Day, February 22nd. So the awards will be presented, persons' names will be called, but the investiture ceremony is normally after independence. So we want to really, we really want to say to the public out there that they need to, as of now, start sending in the nomination forms. Last year we received about maybe over 100 forms. It's a lot to go through. That is why we have a deadline date, because we have to go through everyone in its entirety, and then the board have to meet and go through everyone again. So we want to ask persons to be able to start sending their submissions if they have not done that yet, because we had our launch just took place, so they can start sending their forms in, and we want to appeal to them to go out and look for those unsung heroes who went over and above expectation, and they are deserving of that award.
Indeed, and you've got about 6 weeks and a couple of days to get that all done.
Yes.
The 20th of December.
Yes.
It's not too far away, so certainly you need to get to thinking and getting to writing as well. Thank you so very much. We've been speaking to two representatives of the National Awards Committee for the Order of St. Lucia, and they are Ms. Sharon Ephraim and Dr. Kentry Japierre. Thank you so very much for being our guests here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International.
And on behalf of the committee, I would really like to thank RCI and you, Calix, for having us here.
Indeed, thank you. And of course, to our listeners, we'll be back again tomorrow, God willing, for another program of the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Have a great one.